So I guess Captain America is now attached to murder mysteries. I mean, so much for going back in time to have a better life. Am I right? Yeah. Hello brothers, my name is Daidarius and welcome to the review of Knives Out. So Knives Out is this murder mystery where Harlan Thrombey, which is this old entrepreneur, rich man, he apparently makes suicide, or is it a murder? And now P.I. Bignon Blanc tries to solve this murder or suicide with the police, where we follow the main character, Marta Cabrera, who was the nurse of Harlan. Now, of course, all the children and in extension the grandchildren are in uproar because they want to know what happened to the grandfather and also can they get their inheritance. And that is pretty much the plot of this movie. Now, there's not too much to the plot of this movie. It's basically just that we follow this investigation in two parts. One is how Blanc is trying to solve this case, and the other is the point of view of Martha because she has a secret that we get told early on in the movie, and that pretty much affects her role in the movie for the rest of it. So what do I like about this movie? Well, first of all, it is shot quite well. I mean, it just has some charm to it. We have all these weird characters, and they're just presented in a, I won't say charming, but maybe a quirky way, and that is on purpose, and for sometimes it actually works with these quirkiness bouncing off each other, and it makes for some funny scenes. Unfortunately, you don't get a lot of character depth. It is very superficial, so there's not much going on there, and also plot-wise, I mean, we have seen it a lot of times before, and they try to do something different this time, but for the most part it doesn't pay off, but I'll get to that later on. Just the way this movie looks, feels, and sounds is actually pretty good. I also enjoyed the humor in this movie. Now, the humor wasn't as present as it could have been, since this is mostly a comedy murder mystery. But when this movie made me laugh, it really made me laugh. So some of the jokes will hit hard, where most of them will just be you exhaling a lot of air. Also, the pacing in this movie is fine. I mean, it doesn't really slow to a halt so often that it bothers you, but it does pick up the pace when it needs to. And also, this murder mystery is very easy to follow along, considering what you get told in the beginning of the movie. So not really trying to guess along what the end result will be, as much as you're just there to enjoy the ride, which kind of bums me out. I mean, this is a murder mystery, so you do want to try and sit there and kind of come up with your own theories of what's happening or what happened, but don't really get the chance here. And also, this movie doesn't really feel like it drags on too much. I mean, this movie is over 2 hours long, but it doesn't really feel like it's 2 hours long, which is a good thing, so it don't feel like you're wasting time. You're actually sitting there and enjoying this light entertainment. Now I'm emphasizing light entertainment, which brings me to what I didn't appreciate about this movie. First of all, these characters is just flat. I mean, they're caricatures, there's nothing much more to it. There's not much there except for things that makes them comical and funny. Air quote funny. And the same goes for the murder mystery. There's not much interesting there. There's just a murder mystery that Blanc tries to figure out what happened, but besides that, there's not much to the plot. The plot has some interesting ideas, but it doesn't know what to do with it, so it just does the least amount of work to make them, well, not work, but just make them. Which of course means that this movie's plot is pretty forgettable. And when a movie's plot is forgettable, then there's a high chance the movie in itself is forgettable. And there's a high chance you won't be able to remember this movie in, like, let's say, half a year. And with that comes the underusage of the characters in this movie. I mean, we have the whole family. I mean, they are the main suspects in this case, but we don't really spend that much time with them and also how this affects them. They are just there for a few key scenes, and that is pretty much it. And it also kind of feels like we're just blasting way too fast through this murder mystery, but that's also because it kind of have a B-plot at times to want to utilize, but it doesn't really know what it wants with it, so it kind of tries to mix these two plots together, but it doesn't really work. It just feels like clumsy storytelling, and you end up only having the quirky characters to actually drive the movie forward and actually make it, let's say, enjoyable to watch. The movie does try to do a clever twist at the end, but this twist just falls flat because it doesn't really build to it. It doesn't really try to lay hints towards it, and it just ends up not working. And also the fact that this movie ends kind of abruptly. I mean, there are some story threads that you want to tie up in kind of neat way, but the movie just ends. I mean, it just quickly tries to tie up these plot threads, and then the movie just ends, and you just don't really see anything pay out. So when you're up in this movie, you get beautifully shot and easy to follow storyline with a, let's say, basic murder mystery with a twist. You have some quirky characters that might make you laugh, and you also have some funny scenes. Laughable, no, not laughable. High air exhaling scenes, let's call them that. The acting is decent. I mean, there's nothing mind-blowing, and it's just quirkiness to be quirky. You have an unutilized murder mystery. You have a plot that doesn't really know what it wants to do. You have some plot points that just doesn't really go anywhere and just end up being tied up way too quickly. And the movie just ends with an empty feeling. But I will say that this movie, considering it is 2 hours and 10 minutes long, is entertaining because of the way the characters act. But that is the only drawing force of this movie. That, and I mean, it is a murder mystery. Who doesn't like a murder mystery? So I will say that Knives Out, you should catch it on Netflix. My experience. So, Knife Out, have you seen it? What do you think about it? And what is your favorite murder mystery movie ever? I don't know which one is mine, but 7 might be quite at the top. Yeah. Also, I'm sorry if I kind of sound like different. I mean, I'm not sick, but I do have a stuffed nose since I've been bicycling out in the cold air. So that's the reason. So I'm sorry. But whatever you think, come around me your thoughts. As always, until I see you in the next video, remember to stay awesome. Bye! So is Captain America gonna have other funny adventures that's just, you know, a poor career choice? Probably.